Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We have a lot of exciting sessions about supply chain and procurement, automation, engineering, and many more. Make sure to download the VFairs app on your mobile phone, which allows you to join sessions much easier and via mobile. With that, chill for a few minutes and watch our video for exciting reminders before we begin the session very shortly. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to our Fireside Chat, Supply Chain Procurement, Technical and Production Session 2. I am Michelle from Nestle Switzerland, and I'll be your host for this session. So just some house rules to ensure a smooth flowing session today. Keep an eye on the chat box. Make sure not to flood it with spam so you can catch important announcements and links on how you can engage with us via slido.com. You may see the chat box for the code to join our session. Have your mobile phones on standby to scan the QR codes on the slides and see career opportunities in supply chain, procurement, technical, production, and engineering across all the Nestle markets around the globe. Now, this is our panel today. We have Bangan, Zoya, Laura, and Tula. So welcome.
Hello, Michelle.
Hello, turn your camera on, guys. Don't be shy. Hey, Tula, Bangan.
Hey, Michelle.
Hello.
Hey,
Hi, Michelle.
Laura. Hey, Zoya. Great. So our panel is complete. Welcome, everyone. We will start with some questions and we will have a Q&A at the end. So let's see what's first in line for us today. Great. So how has Nestle supported your career development in supply chain, procurement, technical, and production? So this is a very interesting question. Let's see with Bangan, what can you share with us?
Hey, yeah. I'm proudly share that during my 7 years working in Nestle, I moved already in my 5th roles from operational to strategical, which means that in average for every 1 year and a half, I handled the new responsibility and also new things. And this all comes because Nestle provide me a career path plannings. So my near and also long team aspiration is heard and also assessed by line manager to align with the business need and as well as my personal goals. One of the effort that I really appreciate that Nestle did to me was sending me to a business school. So I took my master degree of business under Nestle Development Program. So yeah, hi, I'm Bangun from Nestle Indonesia.
Nice, thank you. Maybe before I get Laura to also answer this question, let's just quickly say hello to Tula and Zoya as well. If you can introduce yourself very quickly, and then we move to Laura to then introduce herself and answer this question as well.
Yeah, so my name is Tula. I worked with Nestle for 10 years now, based in East and Southern Africa. So I'm originally from South Africa. However, I work in Kenya, supporting the manufacturing and supply chain operations. Thank you.
So, hi, I'm Zoya. I'm with Nestle from past more than 6 years now. I've been with the company and looking after end-to-end supply chain. So with different supply chain, and now I'm currently a senior procurement specialist here. Thank you.
Okay, so if you can then introduce yourself, but then also give your insight on the question on how Nestle has supported your career development. Would be great.
It does for me at the same time. Okay, I will take it as the challenge. So, hello everybody. My name is Laura Ruggero. I'm Italian, in Nestlé since 6 years, based in Berlin, and I'm part of the procurement community related to packaging. Thank you very much for the question, Michelle. I believe I can summarize my answer with one word, that is diversity, meaning that I was not expecting that when I joined Nestlé. For me, it's diversity from 2 different angles. The first one is people, and the second one is businesses. Please let me elaborate a bit more. So people meaning encountering so many people coming from different countries with different languages, different religion and cultures. It really boosted my mind to evaluate the different situations from different angles. And I really need to thank everybody, every and each one of this person. And it's something that now I'm addicted to. So it's something that I would really miss if it's something that it's not there anymore. And then it's related to businesses. So Nestlé is taking care of many different brands, or as we call them internally, businesses, like Purina, for example, Nespresso, confectionery, and so on and so forth. They are all different from each other, different challenges, different way of doing marketing, different realities. So basically, it's like working for many companies, but in reality, you are within only one company. And this is, for me, it's great, and it's really boosting my energy every day.
Great. So let's move a bit closer to the mic to make sure everyone can hear us. I hope this is a little bit better now. Very good. So great. So audio is a little bit better now. We're a bit closer to the microphone. Yeah, I told you at the beginning, I'm Michelle from Nestle Switzerland. So I just tell you a little bit about myself as well before moving to the next question. I'm the global category lead for the cereals and grains team with Nestle, being 11 years with Nestle, having a lot of fun in procurement and commodities specifically. So I'm very happy to be hosting this session today. Now that we have the audio hopefully working a little bit better, let's then move to the next question. Again, that's a great one. So what are some key skills you would need to grow a career in supply chain, procurement, technical, and production? So for this one, I would like to hear from Tula, please.
Yeah, so I think the critical skills for me are three. Really, the first one being result agility, particularly focusing on problem-solving skills, because the one thing you learn from any problem-solving is really how to deliver results, and also any other tools in the world that we actually use at Nestle to really facilitate root cause analysis. The second one is really change agility. In this volatile environment that we live in, I think it's very important to understand, the sequence at least of change management, and also steps to take when we are going through change. And the last one being the most important for me, really people agility, where you can at least understand how to manage stakeholders and those impacted and also those affected. So that's it for me.
Right. That's great insight there for sure. And maybe Laura, if you also want to add a few more points on the key skills.
Yes, with pleasure. And I hope that my audio would be a little bit better than before. If not, sorry for that. So main skills that have been very useful for me, at least, is being very structured and well organized, because there are many things to be followed at the same time. So the more organized you are, and the better you can follow up. Of course, to be focus oriented, because you need to know what is your path and where you want to go. But at the same time, what I see that is really important is that you need to have your set of value, meaning that it's something that you will never move from that, because you need to give to your internal stakeholders, suppliers, and external stakeholders the fact that you are reliable and you practice what you preach. This is key. And then the latest one I would suggest is empathy. That might be weird in a department like procurement or supply chain, but please consider, if you don't understand what the others is passing through, what are their challenges, and also what are their final goals, at the end you will not be able to reach your own. Thanks, Michelle, for the question.
Amazing. So yeah, it's a mix of technical and soft skills for sure. Now maybe we move to the next question, and let's see what's in line for us. What are some key initiatives that you've helped the business accelerate in the recent years? And I imagine we all have quite a few examples to share, but maybe for this one, I would like to hear from Bengon first.
All right, the key initiatives. Well, I'm working at procurement departments, in which one of the key activity that we work is to communicate with our stakeholder, which is supplier, one of the key stakeholder that we work with. What we did as a key initiative was to establish a platform that can be used by our supplier to collaborate together by sharing live information, historical data, and also potential reach. And this platform also increase the speed of our communications in more effective and also in efficient way. And the data that together that can be accessed by both parties, Nestle's, all markets across the globe, as well as our supplier. This helps the decisions making in Nestle and our supply easier and faster, such as by decision of demand ordering, stock management, and so on. In the end, by establishing this collaboration with our supplier, by having these platforms, it helps both parties. Both parties are benefited.
Amazing. Great example. So maybe Zoya, if you want to share with us as well.
Yeah, so I'm going to share one of my examples, currently working as senior procurement specialist. So building on the journey of digitization, the aim is always to simplify the processes and enhance the transparency within the system regarding vendor selection. So what we did this year, like me as my being a senior procurement specialist in the area, we started a vendor evaluation through a digitization of a project. It's through a Power BI report. It's not like we are not doing vendor evaluation, but there were certain areas like media and marketing spend where vendor evaluation was done through an informal way, like over emails. But in order to enhance the objectivity and creating the transparency in the system, we have started this year digitization of evaluation through Power BI report. This that not just help us enhancing the objectivity of the criteria, how we are selecting certain vendors, but also helping us to navigate some of the critical spends through which vendor development is really required. Apart from that, this has also helped us to reduce the man hours, 300 man hours annually, because now it's more digitized. People are spending less of the time over repetitive work or Excel-based work. So it's more through Power BI, real-time data is available, and for future, you can easily do decision-making on the basis of that real-time data. So that's one of the examples I want to share. Thank you.
Great, I love it, going digital. So now we have one more question. Let's see what's next. Right, yes, talking about digital, right? So how has digital acceleration changed the nature of supply chain procurement and technical and production operations? And what are the benefits? So maybe for this one, I'll go to Tula first.
Yeah. Well, as my colleagues have mentioned, it has delivered a lot, especially on value add. Nestle is a very consumer-centric organization where for the consumer, there are few success factors when they're purchasing our products. One being price, the most important one being trust, and also availability. So what you know is that the more you can invest in these three, you'll find that then there's more growth and there's also more trust from the consumer. So what we've done in digitalizing our operations, we've actually created now more time for the operator, where the operator is actually converting the raw materials into finished product, has now more time to deal with these value add activities instead of firefighting. You know, when I was employed by Nestle 10 years ago, some of the reports were done manual, and you'd find it takes you sometimes half a day just to conclude your report. And by digitalizing, you'll find that now we can automate some of the reports, and then you're spending more time focusing, especially on the shop floor, on the quality, which addresses at least the trust for the consumer, and solving problems linked to availability and also cost, addressing the price point for the consumer. So I think for me, I've seen the benefits come through over the past 10 years. Thanks.
That's great. That's great. And maybe we go next to Zoya. Do you have some insight on this one as well?
So I think so. As I already shared the example, digitization is basically helps you to simplify the processes. The most important benefit of this. Apart from that, it helps you to reduce your repetitive work and help promote your work-life balance, which is really important for the employees, for the well-being of employees, and also people get time to innovate as well. And innovate is always considered as an opportunity, because it's not like you have to create something new in innovation. It's something like a regular work can be done in an innovative way as well. So these things have really helped the digitization in accelerating the supply chain. And apart from that, once you have so much data available, you can make a better decision out of it, because the data points are so much that it generates growth for the business. You understand where we do stand in terms of our businesses, in terms of our manpower, in terms of our other costs. So this helps us to make a better decision making. Thank you.
Okay, that's great. I think from a procurement perspective, what I really love about digital acceleration is the ability to work anywhere, right? If I have a laptop, if I have my mobile with me, I have internet connection, I have all the automated reports I need to make decisions, and to make decisions very quickly as well, considering the environment we live nowadays, where things are changing constantly and changing fast. Your ability to make decisions, if you have the tools in place to make those decisions very quickly as well, you can be a lot more efficient. And I love the mention to work-life balance, because this is also very critical, right? When you have the tools and the access, and this is all coming with digital acceleration for sure. So maybe Bengun, do you have some insight on this one as well?
Yeah, I totally agree with the idea of this digitalization that increase our life balance. We can work anywhere right now. But one thing that I want to also add is that it gives us the alignments, because we refer to the same sources. Usually in the communications, what challenging is we are, for example, in procurements, we are talking different numbers, but having these digitalizations where everything's are centralized, where everything's are accessible by any parties, we are referring to the same number, and that's it make us for make decisions, and those decisions is justifiable and easy to be proposed and also aligned between stakeholders.
Absolutely. It's all about being aligned and working as one team for sure. So maybe before we move to the next one, Laura, if you have some insight, we would also like to hear from you.
Yes, with pleasure. Even though, Michelle, I have to say that this was my answer before. So procurement is alive apparently. So it's very nice the fact that with my laptop and my mobile I can work everywhere. So basically I have my office always together with me. The fact also that through Teams we are always and continuously connected with our teams. It doesn't matter if they are in Kuala Lumpur, Panama, US, UK. It doesn't matter. We are just 1 minute away to connect with each other, and this is amazing from my side. And as Zoya was mentioning before, and thank you also, Zoya, for the project that you are doing. All the reports that we have on Power BI that we can even access from our mobile phone, from our iPhone, they are so helpful for us that if a supplier is calling us, I can take 5 minutes break, check my iPhone, and then call them back with the answer and give, I hope, the right direction to go to the negotiation, let's say.
Yes, absolutely. So we have one more question. Let's see, before we move into the Q&A. That is a good one. So what advice would you give anyone who wants to grow a career in supply chain, procurement, and technical and production at Nestle? So maybe Tula, can you start with this one?
Yeah. So my advice would be quite simple. Firstly, because it's an operation, we have a lot of machine versus man interaction. So passion for safety and quality. You need to really be passionate about safety. Number one, for yourself and also for the consumer, who's the end user of your product. Second, you must upskill yourself a bit more functionally. Obviously, this is going to school, getting qualified. And the latest one that's really proven very successful for us over the past years is leveraging on technology. You know, there's so many solutions nowadays which are allowing us to do things a bit better and increase speed to market and also availability. And don't forget to have fun. Have fun, enjoy it.
I like it. All about a good balance, and the fun is part of it. Maybe Zoya, can you share some insight and advice with us?
So being a supply chain or procurement resource, I think so one of the biggest skill or thing you need to absorb is that you need to be great at numbers. You need to understand what each number states, what the value for each number is for every stakeholder in the company. So that's really important. You have to be great at understanding the numbers. The second is understanding the environment and how that macro level and micro level environment impacts the supply chain and the businesses, because that's really important. We have seen the last 2-3 years of COVID, we have seen how supply chain abilities and their ability to absorb the pressure has led to the growth of the businesses. Because if supply chain is not that what you can say, ability to absorb and adapt to the changing environment, and you're not understanding how the changing environment is impacting you, you won't be able to excel. So that's really important. You need to know, you need to have the great knowledge, the holistic view of what is happening in the world around and how you're going to maintain your supply chain accordingly. Secondly, the biggest one of the things you need to do is acceptance and driving of the change. Because people do call themselves the supply chain is a support function, but I don't think so. I think so these are the ones who are actually driving the change in the companies as well. So you need to have that ability to accept and then drive it across the value chain. So I think so that's the 3 most important things for me to grow in a career. Thank you.
Maybe Laura, you want to share some advice with us?
Yes, Michelle, thank you very much. So I would say be passionate, meaning always do something that you like, that you really like. Put all your energy into that. And the second point is being open to changes and challenges. We are all facing many challenges, but this is also what is boosting us, because come on, otherwise life would be a bit boring. And the second point is, of course, open to changes, because things are changing every single day. And the more agile, and so I'm equaling Tula on this one, the more agile you are, and the easier it will be for you also to grow a career.
That's great. I like that. Yeah, agility. And Bengen, do you like to share some advice, please?
Well, yeah, for me, maybe the additional sharing that I can share is about the understandings of your roles. We were assigned in a certain specific roles of our jobs. We need to understand what is the minimum contribution that we should have, and also the additional or additional effort that we can provide to the business. By understanding our roles, I think we can understand the significant contribution that we have to the business. And by doing that, I think we value our jobs more, and it makes ourselves, I think, having the proud of exercising or doing our jobs more. In the end, if we love what we do, like Tula said, that having fun doing that, I think it gives more as more insightful, as well as benefit that not only the company who can feel that, but also us as a professionals. But maybe Michelle, I also want to hear from you what is your insight for that?
Yes, glad you asked. So for me, as I said at the beginning, right, 11 years with the procurement commodities and still loving it. And everyone mentioned passion and really having fun, and it's all part of that. But I think in this period of time, the advice I would give is flexibility. We talked about agility, but within supply chain, procurement, technical, there are so many different areas and opportunities to explore. Of course, if you have the ambition to be a deep expert, is fine. But if you really have this flexibility and curiosity to navigate different areas, different teams, this will open so many doors and definitely will boost your career in this area. I think we are not to be seen as a support function anymore. We are definitely, with what we've experienced in the last few years, we are definitely helping the business to drive value and grow. And we should be very proud of that. And that's another reason to be very passionate about our jobs. But my main advice would be remain flexible, remain curious, and try to understand the end-to-end, right? Try to understand what impact your function has on the next steps of the chain. And then you will realize that it's all interconnected, it's all interlinked. And once one team is winning, then everyone is winning. So it's all about playing as one team. So I think we covered the main questions that we wanted to discuss today. We still have some time for the Q&A. Let me go to the chat and see the amazing questions we got in between. So no particular or specific order here. So let's see. What opportunities are in Nestlé for someone transitioning into supply chain with a background in business and finance, but taking courses in project management? That's a very interesting question. I'm going to give like a 2 cents here, and then I would like someone else to come in and also share, because I see myself a little bit in this question. I graduated in law. I worked in different areas. So I am Brazilian, and I moved to the UK in 2011. That's when I joined Nestle. And previous to that, I worked in most areas related to project management, etc. So it's all about the flexibility, the curiosity, right? Every background that you have can be very relevant and important when you transition into supply chain, procurement, and all those areas. So for me, with my legal background, I don't see that as not fitting procurement. That is great, because when we are talking about contracts, negotiations, I can use all of that. And then if you are transitioning with a background in business, finance, project management, yeah, I think is a very good and interesting mix. I wouldn't see this as a challenge, and I think in regards to opportunities, it links to the point I made previously, right? You have so many different areas and possibilities to navigate that with this background, I don't think would be difficult to find a fit. So yeah, so sorry, I jumped in this one because I saw myself a little bit in that one with all the changes, but maybe someone wants to add something.
Yeah, I can add on. Considering myself, I am an MBA in marketing, and even though I'm an MBA in marketing, my whole career is in the supply chain. For past 6 years, I've been working at different roles in supply chain. I started off as a procurement executive. Then I was a team lead in a factory-based role, which is a warehousing and a production planning role. Then I'm being a category demand planning role, and now I'm back to procurement and a strategic role. So I think so. Nestle supply chain gives you a very gives you all sort of opportunities if you have that belief in yourself and confidence in yourself that you can achieve that, and the aptitude to absorb and to learn. That's really important, because if you have the aptitude to absorb and learn, I think so you can grow, be it any degree you have. You need to have the understanding how certain company or how certain departments work, and you can be fit into that role easily. Thank you.
Yeah. I want to add to Michelle on that point. My bachelor degree was international relations, so it has nothing to do with procurement or supply chain at all. So yeah, Nestle supply chain provide opportunity for us to grow and also to take any opportunity inside. I think the important is not where your backgrounds are coming from, but your ability to connect the dots of your knowledge that you have. I saw from this side you mentioned taking a supply chain and also they having a background of financials and also project management. I think those are very important knowledge for us in supply chains where our activity mainly is also a project based. So when you can connect between them, I think it will be a very strong foundations for the persons to grow in supply chain of Nestlé.
Yes, absolutely. So I see another interesting question here in the chat. So this one is to the ladies here, right? So they're asking if we had any difficulties as women in the supply chain field. Maybe Zoya, Laura, would you like to start? I let you go first.
I can start. I would say nothing at all. So since I'm within Nestlé, I've never had any issue at all. And honestly, it's even a topic I forgot about because I'm really, really feeling like we are all treated equally. And the only thing that matters at the end is your results, your personality, how you are managing the different challenges that you are facing. If you are a man or a woman, it's really not taking into account. I would say that's my feeling. Zoya, I don't know what is your point.
So I'm going to second Laura because I don't think so. Being women has ever hindered my performance or my growth in the company. See, it's always performance based. If you're performing, if you understand what the expectations are, if you're managing the stakeholders, if you understand who you are actually, you're going to grow. It's not like just because of women being in a supply chain. No, that's not going to happen. So Nestlé is going to always give you the opportunity to fight, to grow, and to understand yourself as well. And even they help you to compete as well. It's not like they're not going to give you any opportunities to grow. There's always going to be, whenever there's going to be certain promotion, whenever there's going to be any sort of training, everything is going to spend on you as well. So there's no difficulties being me as a woman growing in a supply chain.
Absolutely. So I can only reinforce that. And looking around the procurement, the supply chain environment, I see so many amazing women that I work with, and they are all very inspirational, and the career path, they are very well defined and clear, and the opportunities are out there. We see also all our male colleagues very supportive, very welcoming. Is a very diverse and inclusive, very inclusive environment. So it may sound a little bit scary at the beginning when you're starting your career on one area that may be perceived as more male dominated, but fear not. It's super fun. It's super exciting. It's a good place to be as a professional woman for sure. Now, I don't know if the boys want to add something on this one as well, because you maybe also have a different perspective there.
Yeah, for me, just to add on that, at Nestlé, diversity and inclusion is one of the pillars of success, in my view. You know, in East and Southern Africa, we just appointed the first female market head, starting already this month. It's very exciting for everyone. It's the first time we're going to have that. So I'm excited personally. And also as a manager for the past 10 years, what I've seen is as a manager, you must move away from hiring gender-based, doing gender-based hires and move more to skill-based. You know, even if you talk about the digital world today, it's no longer from what you know from university. It's about what skills do you have. So the moment you start looking at it like that and skills-based, you don't look at gender. You hire based on competency.
Absolutely.
Yeah, totally agree. My boss is women's. Our head of finance also women's. I think our previous regionals head for Asia, Africa also women. So I think there's no questions how Nestlé updated women. It's totally equals. I think by having women in our executive board or management, it brings us more perspective in how to handling a business. I think that's very good.
Amazing. That's it. So join us, ladies. It's all good. Now, one question on the chat here that's very interesting. How has COVID affected Nestlé's approach to supply chain? Where I think we all have quite a few examples. So I don't know, maybe Tula or Bangan.
Yeah. Just to go for it, one thing that we forgot to mention is resilience. You know, Nestle globally has been very resilient during this pandemic. And I was one of the people caught between a rock and hard place where in my assignment to Kenya, I remember I couldn't come to Kenya for 3 months, but I had to still do the job because of COVID rules where we couldn't travel out of South Africa. So what I learned from that, at first I was very, a bit not sure how to do the job until I realized that we are very advanced when it comes to digitalization and also having everything online. And I could actually do my job for 3 months without having to be physically in the country. And so if you read up on Nestle's approach on COVID, it's really about resilience and also making sure with the right infrastructure and the right people as well, who have the right attitude around the change. And that has helped us really to survive the pandemic up to this far. So I think it has been interruptive, just like any business, but it's not something that really crippled the business. It's something we went and saw and unlearned, relearned very quickly and find new ways of working.
That's it. Anyone else wants to maybe share a few examples on how COVID has impacted our supply chain?
I can add that point. COVID coming in to early 20 put some people say put it in supply chain spirit in a very darkest situations. But remember, during that period, our effort, our work are much more appreciated because everybody was relying on more supply chain, how our agility to play in the area of how the production still need to continue, how the sourcings need to be also continuously supply. I'm sitting in procurements where some of our materials are imported globally, and the lockdowns in some countries really hit us. But the things that impact us is how by having those situations, it increases our sensitivity of risk management. I think right now we are more prepared, we are more ready in facing any potential risk in the future, especially on supply. So I can say, yeah, COVID in another side is a give challenging, but in another side it also provide a lot of opportunity in the company.
Yes, that's it. It's always good to look for the bright side. That's always one.
Yeah.
There's always some opportunities in the crisis. Maybe I see an interesting one here if we still have time. Let me see. Has there been any implementation of AI and machine learning in procurement? Maybe I can help with this one, but I'm sure maybe Laura may have some other examples. As you can imagine, at the size and scale of Nestle, our demand and our needs, they are constantly changing, right? And for procurement, we need to have, we would like to have consistency, right, and accuracy, but we have to also be flexible and deal with the changes that come. I think maybe 1-2 years ago, we had a very interesting project with our supply chain and demanding team, where they were looking into historical demand, and they are looking into forecasts. And we were saying, how can we improve that? How can we minimize? There will be variations, right? We will always have to live with that. But how can we minimize? How can we smoothen the curve a little bit? And that's where AI and predictive technology came in. And I tell you, it made a huge difference for us on the procurement side, right? Because now they are looking into a whole set of analytics that before we had the spreadsheet, we were trying to make some adjustments here and there manually. But now we have some artificial intelligence behind, actually looking at the peaks, looking at the fluctuations, the reasons behind, and then the information that comes to us on volumes to source or materials to source is a lot more reliable in a way that we feel more confident that we can go and contract those volumes and agree some business with suppliers without the risk that this is going to change so much. So for me, it's been a great experience with the AI from that perspective, and from a procurement perspective, I think we will just move more and more towards this technology to help us be more accurate and efficient for sure. But I don't know if anyone else has some other examples as well.
Well, I can add something. It's not an additional example, but it is the follow-up of what you are saying, meaning that as packaging, we are starting right now. The kickoff was done 2 or 3 weeks back to use the artificial intelligence exactly for the same purposes as in your category. And we know already about the amazing results that you were able to reach. So actually, we are looking forward to see the results ourselves, because our forecasts sometimes are not really accurate, but it's because it's coming from the demand of the market. And I'm pretty sure that it will bring a lot of consistency and stability for us as well.
Amazing.
So maybe I can add something, but it's not really an AA in that case, is that there are many apps and things that we are using for packaging in order to have the augmented reality or the virtual reality to see for the different projects and how the future packaging can look like. We would like maybe to change the colors, to change the type of board, to change the material whatsoever. And in order to convince our colleagues in marketing that sometimes are a bit reluctant to change, we have the opportunity to use those technologies in order to share with them at least a big one of the advantages.
No, that's an amazing example, right? Because before you would have all the trials and this would take so long, and now you can use technology to speed up and bring to reality and speed up decision. I love that. I have one question here that caught my attention. And someone is saying, as one who have a background in agriculture, what would be your advice trying to build a career in supply chain? This is a very, very interesting question, because you may know that at Nestlé we have our climate commitment and ambition, and we are more and more going to regenerative agriculture, and we want to get to the next level on to meet our climate commitments on CO2 emissions, etc. So I think having a background in agriculture and then joining supply chain, or joining, this side, you may not be necessarily boots on the ground, but your knowledge, your expertise can add so much value to what we are trying to achieve, to the activities, the initiatives we are driving from procurement, supply chain, in all areas. I would say this would be a very exciting background to bring to supply chain. Why not? I don't know if someone else has a different perspective, but I think it's a good match.
So
Just to add, it is 100%, because if you think about raw materials, most of them come from the soil. So I can tell you about coffee, a whole journey I've taken when I was in Thailand, where we actually participate in helping farmers farm more efficiently, more green, and then we can then harvest some of the bean, and we manufacture our coffee, our instant coffee or roast and ground. Similarly, in other factories like in South Africa, Mossel Bay, the factories support the local farmers for dairy to make sure that it's much more efficient, and also it's not impactful to the animals themselves. So it's something really, for me, that I think is circular. We're creating circular economies in all these initiatives. So with agriculture, you're good in supply chain.
Any more insights?
I thought Joda wants to say something. Yeah, for me, I'm in the market of Indonesia. I'm buying fresh milk. I'm buying rice as well as coffee at the market here, locally produced from Indonesia, where we work closely with our agronomist teams. If the person who asked the question have a strong background of agriculture, definitely it helps supply chain, especially procurement, in the way we source the materials. We are currently focusing more on regenerative agriculture, which is, I think, is the future of the future, especially for food business. So I really encourage the person who asked to try and apply for us. I believe the strong foundation of agriculture will really benefit the food and beverage business like Nestle.
So just adding on one more point, if I talk about Pakistan market, so Pakistan market is already driven with the one of the biggest food brand is Milk Pack, which is milk driven, and we have a separate supply chain department for milk and milk collection and everything. So I think so that is one of the area that is really important, because if the person understands agriculture, they understand how to deal with farmers, how to engage with farmers. That is a good opportunity to apply. Secondly, the one of the again biggest brand we are having is juices, and all of our fruits they are all procured through different markets and within even Pakistan as well. So I think so that's knowledge is going to add on to his experience, and I think so that's a great having a background of agriculture is great to apply as a supply chain resource.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I'm looking at a question here, and I'm thinking maybe Tula to answer this one. There's an interesting one. How Nestle supply its products easily all over the world? You being a factory manager, what's your view?
Yeah, so for me, what I know for sure is that it starts with the consumer, not with the supplier. So you can't supply something that someone doesn't either need or want. So Nestle spends a lot of the time really understanding the environment that they are in. For example, in East Africa, we have many different countries with many, which are very diverse, where some parts of the countries you'll find that there's malnutrition, but it's more linked to lack of maybe availability of milk. Some is iron deficiencies. So you need to understand first what the consumer needs, and also what does the consumer mean when they say a nutritious product. And then by understanding that, then you go back and you then develop something that can cater for them. And that's how we've been doing. That's how we grow volume. That's how we grow the business. That's how we can supply globally. That's why if you go on Google today and you look up on Nestle, there's many different products, and you can never nail it and say Nestle is focusing on milk or Nestle is focusing on chocolate. You know, there's many different products, even pizza.
Ah, yes. That is great. No, that's a great insight. I think I see one question here, because I know soon we'll be having to close, and I really want to make sure we try to cover this question here, because I think it's a good question for everybody. So what are each of your proudest achievements in your career in supply chain and procurement? So Bangun, you have a big smile there. Let me see. I think I will start with you.
Well, I really appreciate every progress that I have. I'm happy to be here today. Basically, it's one of something that I'm really proud of. But if you're talking specifically about the job, and we are only talking about numbers, for example, as part of our KPI, last year I won the internal competitions among Nestle Indonesia. So there was a competitions among factories and also head office to create an idea of improvements on how the operation teams between supply chain and operations to create a project. And my project, which I propose, is won by the judge. So yeah, I mean, like, I was happy because the idea in Nestle that we share is heard, appreciated, and also there's a room for us to show that. So that's something that I'm very proud of.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So congratulations there. And maybe Zoya, I can see you have something to share with us.
Yeah, so again, adding on to Benjamin's point, being here is again for us as a personally is very achievement, a very proud moment that we are part of an organization who values you and gives you the growth opportunities. But talking about what you have achieved so far, I think so. Last year I won Man Hamara Tumse Award, which is the highest level award for Nestle. For the first time we did a co-manufacturing for our Nestle Juices sparkling cans, and this was the first thing. This was first time we actually launched in Nestle. There was nothing, and in Pakistan actually. In Pakistan, we haven't done co-manufacturing earlier, and this was one of the greatest thing on a company level that we did it. And then it's not just like we did it with the growth and a great opportunity for the business and how they were recently growing. It's just amazing. So I think so this is one of the highlight moments for now. Of course, there's going to be a lot of things that we do. I can name a lot of proud moments, but I think so for now, this is going to be one of them. Thank you.
That's amazing. Congratulations. So maybe Laura?
Yes, so thank you very much. So I will echo Zoya and Baroun that being here, of course, it's a milestone. And on top of that, it's my team, because considering the hard work we have together in the past 2 years, I'm really proud of the people I'm working with and the fact that during COVID and now at this time, we have been able to always secure materials to Nestlé so that our factories can keep running and producing all over, because we are a food company, so we have to people, and this is important. It's something that we always need to keep in mind. And on top of that is the fact that we were able in many cases to secure the best prices on the market. Prices are going up, but still we are securing the best prices on the market. Therefore, it means for me the best prices we can give to our consumers, so to ourselves and our families.
Yes, that's yeah. I love that. I love that answer. Tula.
Yeah, from my end, it's similar to Laura. My team, seeing my team grow. Some of the guys are actually not my team anymore because they've grown out of my hands, which is great. So I've had at least an opportunity to develop a few guys from graduate, and some of them today are already at the production manager, senior management level. That's something for me really I'm proud of. Also, recently we implemented locally in Nairobi something very powerful, which I can see an improvement when it comes to a safety behavior, where we now use virtual reality for safety videos and training videos, and also taking the contractor or the operator or the employee to this reality where they understand the impact of any work-related injury. What I've seen with that is a very big improvement on retention, knowledge retention. So I'm talking about when you assess a person for the first time after these trainings, you'll find they'll get an 80%, but now you are seeing a 95%. And that's something that's really powerful for me, because at the end of the day, as Nestle, we bring you in to work as a contractor and employee, but we also want you to go home safe, because at the end of the day, you can't be explaining to your family what you went to work with full 10 fingers and you came back with 9. So that's really something that I feel is the next big thing, the virtual reality space, which can allow us to really start accelerating learning without having to really gain 10 years of experience with a lot of near misses in between. So yeah, I love that one.
Can I add something on safety? Because everybody's thinking about safety only related to the plants, but it's the same in the office, in our offices. And I was shocked when I joined Nestle, because I had my colleagues keep telling me, Laura, you're not drinking enough water today. You should drink a bit more. Or Laura, please straighten your back, otherwise tomorrow you will be hurting. And at the beginning, I thought he's a friend, he's making, he's kidding, that's it. But in reality, no, I realized that this is the attitude at Nestle, and this is amazing.
It's the safety first, it's non-negotiable, and no matter if it's office, factory, anywhere. So that, yeah, no, that's definitely something that's very strong in the culture. Amazing. So I loved hearing your examples. I'm thinking here myself, proudest achievement. This is a tough question because I think when you love what you do, there's so many things that you, even small things that you're so proud and you celebrate when things are improving or changing or you're achieving something. I had quite a few. As I told you at the beginning, right? I joined Nestlé coming from a different background, industry, etc. And I received so much support, coaching, mentoring to then learn all about procurement, commodities, and navigate this environment. And I think it's something that not necessarily proud about myself, but proud of my colleagues on how they embraced me, how they helped me, how they guided me and coached, and the culture that we have, right, of support. And this, in the end, is one big family where there's always someone there. You have questions, you want to learn something, you want to work on a project. There's always this passion and engagement. So I think these are the things that make that drive your passion and drive you being proud of working in supply chain, in procurement, working for Nestlé. So for me, it's all about the culture and being one big family, really. So I'm really proud of how my colleagues supported me throughout my career, for sure. I think we have only a few minutes left. I'm seeing here at the chat. There's one interesting question here that should be okay with the last few minutes. Is it mandatory to get Six Sigma certification to get into supply chain management? There's a very specific question here. So maybe Bangun, Tula, Zoya, do you have a strong feeling about Six Sigma certification?
Yeah. I knew Six Sigma when I was taking my master. So definitely not before entering Nestlé. So once I entered Nestlé, I knew nothing about Six Sigma for sure, because coming from international relations, what I learned is about politics, is about lobbying. So not at all. So do I have a 6 months certification right now? I don't. But I think understanding how the Six Sigma is implemented in the business is more important. And I think that's what is the idea of learning it. So does not mean to be certified, but I think how you see the knowledge and implement it.
Absolutely. Tula, do you have Six Sigma?
I'll say you learn it even working for Nestle. So it's not mandatory to come with it. Yes, so that is the benefit. So funny enough, I'm a mechanical engineer. I never really did Six Sigma in university, but I learned it at Nestle, and then the certifications came along the years. So you can learn the tools, and then the certification becomes easier for you. Yeah.
Yeah, same comment. I think so. You are not supposed. If you get it, that's up to you. But it's not like it's something which is really important for Nestle. You're going to learn within Nestle. They're going to make sure you are trained on that. You're giving certifications on that. So Nestle is here to support you on that.
Absolutely.
There is nothing that same for me.
You have Six Sigma?
No. I learned much more, and Michelle is more thanks to colleagues that have become your coaches sometimes, the mentors and so on and so forth. Everybody that you grow.
Yeah, absolutely. And yes, it's an interesting question, right? Because there's all these, let's say, ideas around certificates and accreditations and things like that. Yes, some things they are necessary, but some other things we have internally so many tools and trainings and systems that you may be one day doing Six Sigma, but we call it differently, or it's just the idea. So for some things, it's not a must. But it's really whenever you apply for the jobs or you're having the discussions or you're looking, you will see the musts and the ones that are not just maybe nice to have. And then once you in, you will have definitely lots of tools and support and training. And if you want to achieve Six Sigma, yeah, definitely you have support internally as well to follow it if it's something interesting for your role, for sure. Now, unfortunately, I think we cannot take more questions. The Q&A was full of good questions, but we will have to move into the closing. I would like to thank so much Bangun, Zoya, Laura, and Tula for the insightful sharing, and a huge thank you to everyone for attending this session. We hope you enjoyed hearing from our industry experts and feel inspired by their sharing as well. Digital acceleration plays a big role in supply chain, technical, and production. And there are always endless opportunities to look forward to in driving efficiency and quality in everything we do. So I'd like to pass the floor to Meili for the final reminders.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you everyone on this panel for giving all your insights and answering all the questions, and also to be the final session for Next Level today. It's been a real honor to hear from all of you. With that being said, before you guys leave entirely, although this is the last session, we would like to extend our heartiest thanks to all of our partners, attendees, and supporters of Next Level 2022. It's you who's made Nestle Global Digital Eco-Venture such a success. Throughout these 3 days, we've delivered over 38 sessions, which all of you have been joining and engaging with, or just all on digital acceleration. And you know, you got to learn from digitalization of engineering to marketing, all the way to sales and e-commerce. And we're so happy to hear from all of you. And we hope that you found this really, really beneficial. But before we close completely, I would love to hear from all of you in the chat. What did you like about Next Level? It can be a word. Can you give me a thumbs up? You want to share an emoji with me? How did you feel about all these 3 days? And particularly also, how did you feel about the panelists that you got to hear from? Okay, I'm going to have a look and read out some. It was a nice moment. It was informative, a great time. Really learn and enjoy. I've got some fire emojis, clapping emojis. You really loved it. It was a great experience. It was awesome, superb, motivating, extraordinary. Are you guys interested in a career in Nestle? Would you love to be, joining us? Do you think we're a force for good? I think all the wonderful people here are forces for good. Absolutely, 1000%. Amazing. Okay. Keep it coming. I would love to keep hearing them. So as usual, the reminder is that don't panic if you miss any of the sessions today. We will be able to see the recording on Next Level on VFairs, and they'll be up fairly soon. You'll get a notification or follow us on LinkedIn to know when the notification is coming up. You will see a link that will be sent to your email for a feedback survey, which means the world to us. Please let us know how we can do better, what you felt was great, what you didn't felt was so great. Please let us know. We would love to get that feedback to ensure that Next Level 2023, hopefully, will be as smooth and as enjoyable as possible. Of course, don't forget to share all of your thoughts from these 3 days on LinkedIn using the hashtag Next Level 2022. Once again, I'm just going to close it here. We hope you enjoy and hearing from all of our industry experts, and we look forward to seeing you again very, very soon. Thank you so much, everyone. It's been great to be your host. Please take care. Bye-bye.